The all-new Yamaha YZ450F has groundbreaking technology to give you the edge on the track. One great feature is its batteryless electronic fuel injection system. You get the exceptional engine performance benefits of fuel injection without a heavy battery to slow you down. As the crankshaft starts to rotate during kickstarting, the AC magneto generates voltage and the entire electrical system comes alive. The engine control unit, or ECU, is in a startup mode, so it immediately activates the fuel injector, which sprays extra fuel into the intake tract for starting. A properly tuned and maintained YZ usually starts with just one or two kicks, when you follow the techniques we're about to explain. Successful starting mostly comes down to a couple of easy-to-remember things. One is piston position. When you shut off the engine, it's going to rotate a few times until the crank's inertia can no longer overcome compression. Then the piston stops and usually rotates backwards a few degrees toward bottom dead center. If you make the mistake of kicking hard with the piston down here, you'll find starting difficult. Or the engine might even kick back, possibly causing expensive damage. So here's your first key step, and it's a critical one. Put the piston just past top dead center on the power stroke, the sweet spot for starting, before you actually try to kickstart the engine. Slowly push down on the kick lever at least a few times to get a good feeling for the effort needed to rotate the engine, and stop at the point you begin to feel the greatest resistance on the lever. This should place the piston slightly past top dead center on the power stroke. You know you are there because both valves are closed and the piston is moving down, so vacuum is causing a lot of resistance, unlike the compression stroke where auto decompression prevents that resistance. Now let the lever return to the full-up position. Give a good, powerful, full kick on the lever. If you are trying to restart the engine in the middle of a moto, don't let adrenaline take over and just start rapidly kicking the kickstart lever. You could flood the engine. Remember, the fuel injector adds extra fuel in startup mode. Take a breath, put the piston just after top dead center, and then kick. And if you do forget and flood the engine, kick the engine over a few times with the throttle wide open to clear out the excess gas. The ECU won't activate the injector to spray fuel with the throttle wide open. The second critical element in quick starts is air. The amount of air coming into the engine is controlled in two ways: the throttle grip and the starter idle control knob. The starter idle control knob allows you to open the bypass completely and let in more air to flow around the throttle plate if you need it. If you are starting a cold engine at air temperatures above 60 degrees Fahrenheit and at altitudes below 3,000 feet, leave the starter idle control knob alone. You probably don't need it. If it is cooler than that, or if you are at a higher altitude, pull out the knob before starting. The extra air creates a fast idle that a cold engine needs in these conditions for a quick warm-up. After the engine starts, let it idle for up to 2 minutes max, then push the knob all the way back in. The other thing that controls air is the throttle. The important point when starting your engine is leave the throttle alone. Even a small throttle opening could let in enough extra air into the engine to dilute the fuel mixture too much, making starting hard or causing engine kickback. So be extra aware of your right hand. Make sure you aren't accidentally turning the throttle grip as you throw your weight into the kick lever. So let's recap. Pull out the starter knob if you need to. Move the kickstart lever slowly to put the piston at just past top dead center, the position of greatest resistance to lever movement. Let the kickstart lever return to the full up position. Do not open the throttle, and give a good powerful full kick on the lever. There's no magic here. If you follow these steps, a stock YZ450F should start in just 1 or 2 kicks. Of course, always be sure that the bike has all the recommended tuning and service. For example, the idle RPM should be checked because the engine idle speed is very important to overall performance, even when racing. Incorrect idle speed can affect engine startup, off-idle throttle response, and drive out of the corners. It can also have a negative effect on clutch performance and feel. On the YZ450F, warm engine idle should be 2000 RPM. Be sure to use some type of tachometer or your GYTR power tuner to get an accurate idle speed reading. Then, if needed, turn the starter idle control knob to set the idle speed. As you turn the knob counterclockwise as you're looking at it, the plunger is screwed out, opening the air bypass a little more, and the engine idles higher. And if you turn the knob clockwise, it screws the plunger inward, closing off the passageway, decreasing idle speed. Also be sure to use the correct engine oil for your operating conditions. Using the wrong viscosity at low temperatures can really make engine starting more difficult and can cause increased engine wear. If your YZ is properly tuned and well maintained, and it takes more than 2 or 3 kicks to get it started, try starting with the starter knob pulled out. In certain temperature and atmospheric conditions, it can make starting easier, even at lower elevations or when the air or engine temperature is hot. The technology and performance of the YZ450F will maximize the enjoyment of your riding experience. Using the techniques we've demonstrated here, you're off to a very good start. Thanks for watching.